Hello. This is my third time speaking today, so I am sick of my own voice. This may be shorter than anyone was expecting. I was going to tell you where I was speaking, but that would ruin the big reveal. There isn't really a big reveal, but maybe I should just crack on. The last time I spoke at SheSays was 2013. And when Reefer asked me to do this, I started looking back at sort of what's happened since then and what I was doing then. And so at that time, I was working at McDonald's. I was a senior brand manager and I loved it, that marketing department. We were making really fantastic work, award-winning work. We were winning awards left, right and centre. And I loved the agencies I worked with. I'm still really good friends, personal friends with loads of people that I've worked with, internally and at the agencies. After the years have gone by and the sting has left somewhat, I even look back and sort of love the fact that I had to QA my apps with a shitty digital agency over the weekends. Years have gone by. But there was always something missing, and I hadn't sort of worked it out at that time, and things take longer to, the penny takes longer to drop than you might maybe expect sometimes. I went to my first gig at 13. Charlatans, Nottingham, now you come to ask. I'd been reading The Enemy since I was 11. I'm really lucky. I've got a brother who's 5 years older than me and one who's 3.5 years older. So my big brother, at 18, taking his 13-year-old sister to a gig, that is pretty awesome. Thank you very much, Ben Scoggins. 11 years old, and I was scrawling the names of bands on my textbooks, and none of the other kids at school knew who they were, or, I was just a bit of an odd one out. I kind of fancied the boys in bands, but I really wanted to be one rather than sort of go out with one. I collected 12-inch singles by New Order in the most awful state of repair. Record collectors had looked down on them, I'm sure, but I bought them really cheap from, back street record shops in Manchester. I was a voracious reader of music trivia. I can bore the hind leg off a donkey or win a pop quiz. I once won, can I just say, I once won 3 years free Spotify premium because I did a pop quiz that was meant for groups of 6, but I won it. And so I had 3 years of Spotify membership. That is how much of a nerd I am, ladies and gentlemen. I could recite catalogue numbers as well as Beastie Boys lyrics, and I had this growing collection of ticket stubs all over my room. I still have a lot of ticket stubs. At 18, packed up Dad's car and went to university in Sheffield, so, home of really interesting pop music with interesting lyrics. And it never crossed my mind to work in music. It just didn't. Because why on earth would you want to work in something that you love so much? I know. But it just, to me, I was so obsessed and I loved this so much, I didn't want to ruin it. Back to 2013 then. So there I am with Reefer. A bit after I'd done that speech, actually. It's March, and it's South by Southwest, and I'm in Austin, Texas. I've got a list of about 1,893 bands I want to see over the course of 6 nights. There's a photo, actually, taken by my friend Emma Hogan, who's sitting next to me on the flight. I've got all these pieces of A4 spread out in front of me I'd written in red every band I wanted to see and where they were playing and what time, and then how many minutes I'd have to run across town and see another one. This is fucking stupid. Sorry. You can't live like that. And on top of that, I had a list of about 60 sort of lectures and talks I wanted to go to about brands and music and marketing and tech innovation. And, I'd spent over £1,000 on this. It's a lot of money, and I wanted to squeeze every single bit of knowledge out of it that I could. And I came home exhausted, absolutely exhausted, and absolutely high on life and loving the world and everything around me. And I wrote 2, I suppose you'd call them reports. Nowadays it would be a blog post, but I don't even blog now, but it wouldn't have maybe been so formal. One of those reports was all the bands that I thought were going to be the next big thing. And one of those reports was all of the cool stuff I'd seen. Robots and everything to do with marketing partnerships and innovation and brands. And I distributed that one, actually, that second one, to, the first one went to all my new music nerdy friends, but the second one went to my department, my team, and my agencies. And I can remember very, very clearly my line manager of the time, he looked at me and he said, we all want to read a report about your holiday, Emily, and sneered. And I thought, oh my God, you really don't get it. You really don't get it. You'd have thought that would have triggered something. Nope. It took me another year to realise that there was something going on. A year and 203 gigs. 203 gigs, 189 different artists. Yes, I wrote them all down. And all whilst doing my day job. And it was, quite a chunky day job. And every night I'd go and see bands. And I went to South by again and exhausted myself again and came back and felt elated again. And I thought, what am I doing? What am I doing? There's obviously something that I loved that job, but something was pulling me in the other direction. And I was talking to someone about this last night, and I said, it felt physical. I really think it felt like physically my heart was being pulled somewhere else. That sounds terribly dramatic, and it wasn't... like I was having a heart attack every day or anything. It was just this little bit of a pull, a little bit of a pull on a string. I will be forever grateful to a lady called Natalie Pomeroy, who was the head of the department at that time. I think she's now commercial director for Whitbread. Bit of a high flyer. And awesome lady. I was a little bit scared of her. But I... told her that, so there was a restructure coming up in the department, and I said, Nat, please don't put me at the middle of it, because I've got to go and work in music. I don't know how yet, but I've got to go and work in music. I reckon it'll take me 3 months. And she was like, okay, Em, I understand. You've got to do what you've got to do. I'll kind of sideline you a bit, and you'll leave in a few months. Awesome. Now, by this point, I'd sort of networked my way to quite a few people who worked in music, and people are awesome. I've got many, many thanks to give to those people who then recommended I speak to other people and put me in touch. There's a guy who sent 7 emails, all of which said, I would like you to take a meeting with Emily Scoggins. She's great. He didn't even know me that well. And that got me into the offices of 7 of the sort of most senior people in publishing, in live music, in recorded music, in labels. It's incredibly kind. People are kinder than you might ever expect, Anyway, after 9 months, I still didn't have a job. That wasn't ideal. Certainly not for my boss, who said, Em, you've really got to go now. And I fully respected that. And I cried to Gwynny at the Oscars levels as I was leaving that job and, you know, walking out on a quite well-paid job in a business that's one of the most respected and awarded marketing departments in the world. I didn't have a job to go to. Scary stuff. Not as scary as what came next, which was a friend of mine, Claire Inkster, who was on the insights team at McDonald's, has started working at New Look, and they were just about to announce that they had signed a sponsorship deal with Wireless Festival, and they were looking for someone who was from a brand background, new brand, and also new music, and I managed to get in there, which was great. But when I walked in, I found they didn't have any brand plans. They didn't have a marketing calendar, I don't think. They'd just done this deal. They refused to employ an agency to do this massive brand partnership. And before I knew it, I was booking the artists to play on their activation. I've never booked a gig before. I've never negotiated with agents before. That was far scarier than walking out of Macca's without a job to go to, I tell you. I decided that they needed to have some connection with music before they suddenly put a big fat New Look logo over the big Wireless stage. And I suggested this, and the people who run Wireless said, sure, have the Shepherd's Bush Empire, have 3 of the people on the bill. That was it. I was like, how do you do tickets? And they're like, don't know, send people a barcode. Okay. Can I speak to somebody at Ticketmaster, please? And, you know, out there I was making shoppable videos with artists wearing our clothes, and you could shop the videos and all that. It was really exciting. It was really fly by the seat of your pants stuff. It was terrifying. And I went home and cried quite a lot, I think. And, you know, baptism of fire. There was nobody around me who knew how to do this stuff, and I didn't know how to do this stuff. And off I went. Anyway, that went well. And then a few months later, they decided that they didn't need a brand team, and they didn't need to do any work on their brand, and I was fired. So there we go. But as luck would have it, another friend from my McDonald's days was now, who used to be at an agency, was now at AEG, who owned the O2. And he rang me one day and said, Em, I need a music fan to come and talk to the hierarchy. We're having an away day. And I was like, yeah, sure. I've got nothing to do. It was actually my last day at New Look, and I was like, I'm going out. It's really... And I went and sat in Coca-Cola's head office, and I walked in, and for some reason they'd done the tables in a big square with a big hole in the middle, and they were all sitting at one side. It was like on telly when you're watching people around a dinner table, but suspiciously they're all sitting on one side. And I walked in and I started talking to them. I didn't know them from Adam, so I was ripping to bits what they did at the O2, and I was telling them how it is to be a music fan, and halfway through, again, unbeknownst to me, the marketing director texted my friend Mark and said, I've just found our new head of marketing. And it was as simple and weird and wonderful as that. And so I did that for 2 years, and yeah, it's the most successful venue in the world, and the team there, the marketing team there, sell about 60%-ish of all the tickets, so a couple of million tickets a year, and I loved it. I really loved it, you know. I felt like, God, there's not much of a bigger thing to do in that part of music, you know. And I'd sort of blinked and I'd missed what I'd done, sort of thing. I got made redundant in May, and that's how... Can you put your hands up if you've ever been made redundant? Oh, yes! All right, I'm in good company. It was my 3rd time. But anyway, I got made redundant. One of those classic, oh, Em, have you got a minute? oh yeah, sure, John, just get my book. And I walk in and there's a guy I don't recognise and he's got all these papers out. Anyway, awful, but if there's one thing I know, it's that being made redundant ain't the worst thing that ever happens to you, right? And I spent the last sort of 6 months or so freelancing and consulting, so doing work specifically with music tech startups and with artists direct. And 'cause that's another bit of where my heart lies, is with tech. And this is really unfashionable. I hate freelancing. I hate it. I'm in awe of any of you that do it. Any of you that hustle for the next project while you're on a project. I think you're amazing. I really, really do. I'm really bad at it. I don't like being on the periphery and sort of going in and fixing people's stuff and then leaving. And I hate being on my own, to be honest. So that was a big learning experience. I started a new job properly 4 days ago. If I look tired, it's because I really, really am. Thank you. Thanks very much. And now I am, I'm covering a maternity cover for 13 months, but I'm head of marketing and PR for Festival Republic, who look after all of the festivals. You may have heard of some of these festivals, such as Download, Reading and Leeds festivals, and Latitude and Wireless, etc., etc. That's quite terrifying too at this moment. I am the new girl, and I've got 25 staff. I can't even remember their names, but they're all awesome. So that's where I was. That's where I am now. When Reefer asked me to do this, I thought, I've got nothing to say, Reefer. I've got nothing to say. And then I sort of looked back, and I went on iPhone's wonderful because you can just type in the year and they show you all the photos from that year. 2013 was a pretty awesome year for me, gig-wise, certainly, if nothing else. And 2015 was the year it all really kicked off, I think, and life really sort of changed. But I didn't, because it was incremental, I didn't notice it as much, and it's only through doing this process of thinking what I'm going to say to you, so thanks, Reefer, again, that I sort of know what I've done and can reflect. So some things there. Number one, take a look back at what you were doing 5 years ago, because it's really interesting to see where you were and who you were and who you are now. Number two, I had to follow my heart. I had to get music in my day job. I didn't know how else to express that. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I had to get music in my day job. And I think if you feel that, you've got to act on it, because you'll be miserable till you do. You know, I would have been miserable until I did, I'm sure. Following your heart can lead you to some pretty scary, uncomfortable places. Like, it's not sunshine and flowers once you've done it. I mean, I'm scared every day at the moment. Don't tell the boss, but I am. He's the scariest thing of all. No, not really. He's wonderful. You know, just because you sort of get to that thing that you've wanted to do, it doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean it's not terrifying on the daily. But it's okay, because you can step back. I can go back to being a marketing person, maybe not hamburgers again, but although I did love it. I could go back, I could market insurance if I had to. Do you know what I mean? I can pull a pint. I'll be all right. And I guess the last bit is just that you need good people around you. I'm really lucky. You know, Reefer knows we've got lots of mutual friends who are fantastic people. And I've got great family that I love, and I'm really, really privileged and very lucky to have that. But you've got 200 people in this room, and all of whom are good people, and all of whom are probably, or a lot of whom may well have gone through similar things in the past. And I'm in awe of what Ruth has built here, and the fact that you can, I'm sure, pick up a phone to so many people if you ever are feeling a little bit scared or a little bit, what do I do next? And so cherish it, won't you? I guess that's it from me. Yeah.